The following program is sponsored by Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County and the generous gifts of these contributors.
Welcome to Mosaic. I'm your host, Susan Shulman Pertnoy. Mosaic is Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County's weekly news magazine, exploring the most critical issues facing Jews here and around the world. Controversies are nothing new on college campuses, but increasingly, Jewish students are becoming targets of growing anti-Semitic movements disguised as anti-Israel protests. Today, we're at Florida Atlantic University, talking with students and the executive director of Hillel for Broward and Palm Beach. We'll learn how they're engaging students on campus in the fight against hate. We'll be right back. We're horrified as we watch the people of Ukraine faced with an onslaught of Russian attacks. One of the world's largest Jewish populations, Ukraine is home to many elderly Jews, including many Holocaust survivors. Our community is joining together with our global partners to provide food, medicine, and emergency shelter for thousands of vulnerable Jews. Visit jewishpb.org to learn how you can join the effort. Today we're on location at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, and we're at the Hillel Center. And joining us is the Executive Director of Hillel of Broward and Palm Beach, Adam Collette. Adam, welcome to Mosaic.
Thank you, Susan.
Also joining us today are three FAU students. We have Emily, Idan, and Danielle. Welcome to Mosaic. We're so glad that you took the time out of school to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam, let's start with you. I want to read the mission of Hillel. It's to enrich students in a welcoming and pluralistic environment by engaging them in meaningful experiences that foster connections to Jewish life, learning, and Israel. How do you and your team accomplish this?
Well, Susan, one way that we do it, the main way, is to engage and work with student leaders. They build the kinds of programs that are going to be relevant and exciting for their peers. We have staff that comes from Israel. We take our students to visit Israel, and we do an awful lot of learning, Jewish learning, but in a relevant and exciting way.
Adam, you've been the executive director of Hillel of Broward and Palm Beach for 5 years now. Tell us some of your observations about these years.
Wow, well, COVID was certainly a challenging time for students, for life on campus. A lot of our students that are on campus today didn't have a normal high school graduation, and they might not even have a normal college graduation. So we're seeing a lot of loneliness, a lot of students that have challenges when it comes to anxiety. We're also seeing a lot of students with interest in being a part in community, in getting more engaged and more involved. So it's a challenging balance, and it's been fascinating.
Why is Hillel so important for college campuses?
Well, Hillel is, for many of our students, the last time that we have to grab them and show them how Jewish life can be exciting, relevant, valuable for them, something that they should take into adulthood. And college students need support. It's not easy to be 20. And especially these days, and Hillel provides that nurturing environment for students at the same time.
Emily, Idan, and Danielle, tell us how Hillel has helped connect you to your Judaism and to Israel. Let's start with you, Emily.
Okay. I grew up in a very Jewish household. My parents gave me a lot of amazing Jewish experiences, but I didn't find that Judaism was my own. In college, Hillel really gave me that first opportunity to discover how Judaism impacted me and how I was going to bring that into my life and start my own personal Jewish journey.
Idan?
So I grew up in Israel, and I am very connected to my Judaism. So I'm going to answer from my perspective on other people here on campus that come to Hillel.
Interesting, okay.
So I love Hillel because it's a place where Jews and non-Jews can come, learn, and experience together Judaism and be here and have fun.
That's wonderful. How about you, Danielle?
So I actually, when I graduated high school in 2019, I was accepted into an art school in San Francisco, and I went out there knowing nobody, and with my mission at heart, like to go bring Judaism and Israel activism to campus, because that was the scholarship that I got, was to bring my activism to campus. And when I got to San Francisco, I was unable to find Judaism anywhere. I felt lost and alone the entire year I spent in San Francisco. I sought a Hillel out there, and it was too far away for me to get to. It wasn't. And I was really unhappy. And when I made the decision when COVID hit to move back to Florida, where I'm from, and attend FAU, immediately I was connected to Sharon and Hillel, and right away they welcomed me and were like, do you want to be in this Israel group? Do you want to be the president of this? Do you want to join this? Do you want to come to this program? And I was like, oh my gosh, Judaism, like, it was everything I was looking for, and right away I knew that I made the right decision to move back to Florida, and I felt at home. And for me, that's what Hillel is. It's a community, it's a home, and yeah, I'm really grateful.
Do any of you feel that there are any challenges being Jewish on a college campus?
I think so. I think that as Jews, it's a very small community, even here in Boca. And so a lot of times, especially around the high holidays, there can be conflict with exams and professors, and just not everybody knowing what Judaism is, the complexities of it. So Hillel has really given, at least me, that space where I feel connected. I have a bond of familiarity with the space.
I definitely think there are challenges on college campuses in general, and my experiences, I experienced it in high school in an art setting. Boca Raton is a very Jewish area, and not here so much do I experience antisemitism, but at Hillel, I don't worry about it. I'm very comfortable and happy in this space and environment. When I attended college in San Francisco, I love talking about politics. I love talking about Israel. My family's from Israel. I went, like I said, eager to educate, and talking about those subjects aren't an option in San Francisco. They're very touchy subjects, and right away I was labeled a righty or a Trump supporter, or just that I oppress Palestinians because I support Israel or spoke about Israel. And I had to be so careful about the words I chose, and that ended up making me silent. And I'm not a quiet person.
No, you don't
I'm not
appear
a quiet
to be.
person.
No, but
yeah. I had professors at my university tell me that Israel is an occupied state in front of my entire class, and talk about Israel in a way I'd never heard a professor speak. And there was nothing. All I could do was wear an Israel shirt to class every single Wednesday and post on my social media about it, but it was hard.
I'm sure it was. Recently, on Holocaust Remembrance Day, you had a chilling memorial. Do you want to talk about that?
On Holocaust Day, we bought a replica of a World War II cattle car that was used to carry Jews from camps to camps. Inside the cattle cart, there were about 5 projectors that projected to the walls exhibit that make you feel like you're with the people that were back then in the cattle cart. On the floor on the cattle cart, you saw many footsteps that represents how people were close to each other and how tight it was, and how they had to stand up and they couldn't sit, and they had to be like that for hours. Students and faculties were inside, and they experienced, and they came out in shock.
It had to be very chilling. Wow, powerful. Did any reactions surprise you that you heard?
I think that some people never heard about the stories about how the Jewish people suffered. And after experiencing this exhibit, the whole perspective about how Jews suffered during the Holocaust was way different.
Danielle, you specifically planned a powerful program. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. We came up with a program together called Peace, Salam, Shalom, where I collaborated with the Muslim Student Association, with Hillel, and with my student government multicultural programming. And everyone worked together. We also pulled in Artists for Israel, who brought in a program called Painting Ideas. Unfortunately, the day before the program, we did face a few challenges with the MSA backing out of the Muslim Student Association. Unfortunately, backed out of the program because they were facing some threats from other students in their organization. And they didn't want to be around a Zionist-affiliated organization like Hillel, which really hurt my heart, and I know that it hurt my counterparts' hearts as well, because they were really excited to be here for an interfaith program that was specifically non-political. It wasn't supposed to be about Palestine. It wasn't supposed to be about Israel. It was supposed to be about bringing students into a safe space to explore their faiths and get to know each other in order to stand up for one another when it comes to Islamophobia and antisemitism. But unfortunately, the politics did get in the way a little bit. But we still managed to have a great, incredible, successful event with Muslim students outside of the organization still making an appearance. We made art and graffiti, and everyone was smiling and interacting. So it was powerful, and we still got our point across, and I look forward to many more programs in the future.
That's great. I want to thank all of you for joining us. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more of Hillel after this brief message. Coming up, more about challenges Jewish students are facing on college campuses. We're horrified as we watch the people of Ukraine faced with an onslaught of Russian attacks. One of the world's largest Jewish populations, Ukraine is home to many elderly Jews, including many Holocaust survivors. Our community is joining together with our global partners to provide food, medicine, and emergency shelter for thousands of vulnerable Jews. Visit jewishpb.org to learn how you can join the effort. We're back with Executive Director of Hillel of Broward and Palm Beach, Adam Collette, and joining us is Lauren Obeck, the Assistant Director of Hillel. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
What is it that you love about your job here?
Well, I definitely love my job. Well, besides feeling like I am amongst family all the time, I love that I get to work with such a wide variety of people every day. It's incredible to have all these different kinds of students who come from different places, have different life experiences, are in different places on their Jewish journeys, and they come in here and they are able to find their own meaningful way of doing Jewish, whether that be in a more traditional sense, something that's more spiritual. We expose the students to all different kinds of Jewish experiences and Israel experiences. And for each of them, they're able to find meaning and find a home. And so when I say we're amongst family, we are.
That's great. You know, there's so many challenges for kids now on campuses, and being Jewish is really difficult at this time. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. How are you dealing with that?
Well, there's a number of different ways. The most important is in building personal relationships with our students and making sure that we're there to support them wherever they are in their journey. At Florida Atlantic University, we have built a really strong relationship with our administration as well, who are participating together with us in a special initiative, a national initiative called the Campus Climate Initiative. In this program, we're working to enhance knowledge and understanding about anti-Semitism and how university administrators and faculty can help root it out so that the climate for students on their campus is a positive one.
I think that's very powerful, actually. What have you been doing to foster that?
So a lot of it is education. It's understanding about the ancient, unfortunate practice of anti-Semitism that goes back thousands of years and the common tropes that are still in use today. But it's also these days understanding that a lot of times anti-Semitism is masked in some anti-Israel sentiments that happen. And this, on a college campus, is something that has to be discussed, talked about. There are definitions of anti-Semitism. Actually, one of our Hillel students presented, and it was unanimously passed, for the FAU student government to adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. So a lot of it is in education about the process.
Let's talk about Israel for a moment. How are you giving the students a taste of Israel here?
In many, many different ways. Whether that be through Israel food festivals, which was awesome, very well attended, everyone loves food, the hungry college students, or if it is during Israel Awareness Week, where we have a large-scale event every single day that reaches different kinds of students in different ways. We also have our birthright trip coming up, which we are beyond excited about. We, in the past, usually take one full bus in the winter and then in the summer. For this trip, we are taking 4 full buses, and we probably could have taken a 5th or a 6th.
That's amazing. I have to ask you, how are you recruiting these kids to go on Birthright?
Well, these are students who would have loved to be in Israel in 2020, and their trips were canceled. These are students who would have loved to go last year. And we also have new students that we've engaged with this year. So we have a really large target audience.
Adam, Hillel here seems to be thriving. What is your secret sauce for enticing students to join?
It's people. It's both connecting the student leaders and an incredible professional team to something that they're passionate about. We're fortunate. We have excellent material to work with. The Jewish people are a thriving, exciting, engaging community to want to be a part of. We just have to make sure that those personal relationships help translate this ancient and beautiful tradition of ours.
Adam, thank you. That was a great way to end the segment. Thank you both for joining us today. We'll be right back after this brief message. Coming up, we'll hear from Hillel at University of Florida about using bagels and cream cheese in the fight against hate. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Celebrate Israel's 75th birthday during an exclusive mission to the Jewish homeland. Learn more at jewishpb.org/Israel75. We're horrified as we watch the people of Ukraine faced with an onslaught of Russian attacks. One of the world's largest Jewish populations, Ukraine is home to many elderly Jews, including many Holocaust survivors. Our community is joining together with our global partners to provide food, medicine, and emergency shelter for thousands of vulnerable Jews. Visit jewishpb.org to learn how you can join the effort. Joining us now is the Executive Director of Hillel at the University of Florida, Rabbi Jonah Zinn. Welcome to Mosaic, Rabbi.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Differentiates UF Hillel from other campuses in Florida?
I think there's a few things. Most significantly, we're the number 5 public university in the country. So it means that students that go into Florida are among the best and the brightest that you'll find anywhere. And not only are they smart, but they're also incredibly leadership oriented and motivated. They're the kind of young people that are going to make a difference, be leaders, not only in our Jewish community, but in all areas of society. And I think that part of the reason our work here is so important is because not only are we helping to cultivate a new generation of committed Jews, these are the young people who will go on to lead our communal institutions as professionals and as lay leaders, as supporters for generations to come. And we have an amazing opportunity right now where there are thousands of them 83% of whom are from Florida, and they are going to stay here in Florida. 69% of UF students never leave Florida. So there's an amazing opportunity for us to really cultivate the next generation of Jewish leadership for Florida, and for Palm Beach County in particular.
That's true. You students today have so many opportunities on campus, all sorts of different clubs. How do you attract kids to be members of Hillel there?
Yeah, I mean, we take a really relationship-based approach. Every student is an individual with unique needs and desires. They're looking to get different things out of their college experience. And we're looking to figure out how we can support every Jewish student as they make their way through college. So offering a wide menu of opportunities, everything from Shabbat and holidays to Jewish learning, Israel travel, Israel education and advocacy, Holocaust education, anti-Semitism awareness, along with core community building opportunities, are all parts of our programmatic strategy. But I think it's important to remember that Hillel, while programs are a big part of what we do, we help to serve every Jewish student in other ways as well. Some of it is about our care programs and the ways that we support students who are, whether they're under the weather or they're going through a tragedy, a personal tragedy, a family tragedy, a difficult time in their lives, of being there to support them. And Hillel also plays a critical role in helping to ensure that the campus remains a safe and welcoming place for Jewish students, a place where Jewish students don't feel marginalized or otherwise maligned. And that's work that we do behind the scenes, working with university administrators, with campus police, with all different aspects of the campus community to make sure that Jewish students know that the University of Florida is a place where their contributions are valued, where they can be their full selves, where they can express their Jewish identity out in public without fear or without worry. And those are all vitally important roles that Hillel plays, and they extend beyond our programmatic work that we do.
We were just speaking with members of the Hillel of Broward and Palm Beach about anti-Semitism and how they're dealing with it, because it's really prevalent right now on college campuses, as you're aware. What are you doing at UF?
Yeah, unfortunately, anti-Semitism is everywhere, right? And students experience it, even though we've been fortunate not to have the type of overt anti-Semitic incidents that you've experienced the students have experienced on some campuses. It's highly prevalent online. We see it in other aspects of campus life. And for us, at its core, is about undertaking an educational effort to be proactive, to say that we know that anti-Semitism is an issue. We're fortunate at the University of Florida that through our proactive approach, we've been able to mitigate some of the worst and most vitriolic forms of anti-Semitism, but by building bridges with other student populations, with multicultural groups. We just had a great event here the other day with a large African American service fraternity that we've started to partner with. We work with students of all backgrounds. One initiative that we started here 3 years ago and actually went to the campus of FAU this year was our Spread Cream Cheese Not Hate campaign.
Yes, tell us about that.
Yeah,
yes,
it's an amazing campaign.
That's exciting.
We celebrate National Bagel Day every year by asking students to sign a pledge to spread cream cheese and not hate. And while the offer of a free bagel is attractive, what I think is more exciting for students is the opportunity to engage in conversation with their peers about anti-Semitism and experiences of hate on campus. So by offering them a free bagel and asking them to sign a pledge, we're inviting them into conversation about this critically important topic facing the Jewish community and other minority communities. And it creates what is a really accessible entry point to the conversation. And that's part of why our students love it so much, is because they
Was that your brainchild?
It was our team. Yeah, it was our team. So I'm proud of our team here. We own the trademark, actually, for Spread Cream Cheese Not Hate, which our board was excited to obtain. But it's an opportunity really for us to engage in conversation, and it opens up the conversation in a way that isn't always easy, but is vitally important. So it's been a great initiative here, and has helped us really build relationships with all corners of the campus community in really positive ways.
That's terrific. There's a brand new initiative, a collaborative initiative between the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County and University of Florida Hillel. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So The Hillel at the University of Florida has been a partner with the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County for a very long time and is incredibly grateful for your annual unrestricted allocation. This year, really starting this summer, we're thrilled that we have the opportunity through a new level of partnership to grow our program team with the addition of an early career engagement professional, someone who will be on campus working to engage students, to meet them, to help connect them to Jewish life, to create new opportunities. And that wouldn't have been possible without a generous grant from the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County that's making that happen. We have one of the largest Jewish student populations in the country here at the University of Florida. But the number of staff we have per student does, really pales in comparison to many of our peers. So I think we, for example, our peer group of elite public universities with 4,000 or more Jewish students, places like Michigan and Maryland, they average 375 students per professional, right? We have over 1,000 students per professional here at the University of Florida. So there's a lot of work to be done. And to your credit, the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County realized that and has made this leadership gift to help ensure we can engage every Jewish student.
Why do you think Hillel's presence on college campuses is so vital, especially now?
Well, for most young people, you grew up in Palm Beach County, and for many of them, the only time in their lives that they're not living in Palm Beach County are those 4 years where they're away on campus, right? And the Jewish community is so great at nurturing young people, right? Beginning really with Jewish preschool and PJ Library, and continuing through religious school and camp and youth group and all the myriad of ways that Jewish community supports the growth and the Jewish education of our young people. And then they go away to college, and they're 3-4 hours from home. And Hillel is their Jewish community for those 4 years, during those critically important years where they're making decisions that'll impact the trajectory of the rest of their lives. Those 4 years can either help to increase their level of Jewish identity and commitment, or they can be an off-ramp to Jewish life. And our role is really to ensure that the 4 years at campus leads to increased commitment.
Rabbi, thank you so much for joining us, and you do such great work.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County for your ongoing partnership and support. And together, we're going to help engage every Jewish student at the University of Florida. Go Gators!
There you go.
This program is sponsored by Jewish Federation of Palm Beach County.